United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have the reading of the mission and vision, please.
Richmond Community Schools guide students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities.
This is statement of Richmond Community Schools is a community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service.
Thank you both. Moving on to item 2, celebrations. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that Mrs. Hazel Baker come before the podium to introduce this evening's celebratory group. Mrs. Hazel Baker, I think we have some amazingly talented individuals in the room. And
I just wanted to introduce Mr. Peterball. He's going to introduce the group. People that are here.
It's a great handoff.
That's how you really communicate with students right there.
Is that it there?
Hand
Okay.
motions.
And so
Hi guys, my name is Tanner Peterbaum, I'm choir director here at Richmond High School. I'm also the piano instructor here at Richmond High School. Just started here full time this year. Have been at Tess and Dennis as well, so super excited to be at the high school full time. This is our Rhs Chamber Choir. The choir program over the past 2 years since I started, we started with about 50 kids. We had 75 last year, and we have over 100 kids this year all together in choir. So we've grown very quickly in the past 3 years, so that's super exciting to see. Chamber choir is an audition-based choir. Many of these kids, all of these kids, for lack of a better term, bust their butts. They're here at 7 o'clock every single morning. They have an hour-long rehearsal every morning, and then they put in lots and lots of hours after school to also perfect what they're doing. So the chamber choir here at Richmond has gone to state contests for about over 30 years now, and has never received anything less than the gold in the highest group. So we're super excited to have them here. We're super excited to have this much talent amongst our student body. We'll be singing one piece for you today. The piece is titled Bend. I just want to give you a quick little overview. Sorry, I'm pulling out my phone because that's where my notes are. And I will ramble if I don't have notes. All right. So the piece Bend. Bend is by Kyle Henderson. It is an incredibly moving piece that has an important message for all of us. The text of this powerful choral work is addressed to anyone facing struggles, and it presents an honest affirmation that those struggles are real. Rather than denying the existence of problems or pain, the listener is encouraged to lean into the hardship, to name it, and to thereby reduce its power. Textually and musically, the listener is presented with the metaphor of a tree bending whipped by the wind, but built to bend in that wind, and ultimately withstand the pressure-filled gales. The power of community is also affirmed as the listener is encouraged to walk alongside and to bend along with their neighbor. So we hope you guys enjoy. I need a music stand. Where is it? Oh. Thank you. As I take you guys' legs out. Can I stand in front of that? Okay, thank you guys.
And Mr. Peterball, as I mentioned before, and as I said to you just a minute ago, if indeed you need my services, sir, I stand at the ready to sing with these
Solo, right
talented
now.
Solo.
Of course.
Yeah.
Baritone, right?
Oh, without a doubt. That and anything you need me for.
We need a few more soprano ones if you could just, jump onto that.
Whatever that is,
All right. Basses. Let's see. Hold that for me. Lovely. Keep humming. Breathe as you need to. Tenors. Altos. Oh, sorry. Sopranos. Here you go.
If we could have a couple upperclassmen just talk about their choir experience,
Of
that
course.
would be
Hey,
spectacular.
section leaders. Come chit chat. Yes.
Hi, my name is Caleb Hager. I'm a senior here at Richmond High School. I've been doing choir since my freshman year, and I was inducted into the chamber choir my freshman year as well. I started out as a tenor, and then eventually my voice matured over time, and I became a bass. And now I'm here as a first and optional second bass, as well as the section leader of basses.
My name's Mary Jetmore. I'm a junior. I wasn't really sure I wanted to do choir in high school. I had really good experiences with it in middle school, but I didn't think I'd have time. And then Mr. Peterball was like, join chamber, you'll have a lot of fun. And now I have all these friends I get to hang out with and make beautiful music with, and experiences like this to come to.
Well, hi, my name is Elena Music. I am a junior. I've done choir all middle school, and so when I went into high school, I was like, I don't know which choir I want to join. Well, I tried out symphonic, and I was like, I kind of like chambers music. Why not try it out? And I got in, and I also do show choir, and it's really fun learning different music and learning different languages, and it's just a cool experience to have.
Hi, my name's Abby Stroll. I'm a junior. I've been in chamber since my 8th grade year, so for 4 years now. Coming into my 8th grade year, we auditioned because it was part of what we did. We worked with Mr. Ecker before his retirement, and I walked into chamber not really knowing anything. I was very young compared to most people there and very inexperienced. But then as we've grown a lot with Mr. Peterball. He's been very understanding, and he pushes us a lot and chooses more challenging music than a lot of us have ever heard. And I'm very thankful for the choir that we have now and how much it's grown over the past few years, and for our wonderful directors, Mr. Peterball and then Mr. Hampton as well.
Every one of these, I learned something new. I learned that a drum major could play the flute last time. Can you just list off whoever? I don't care who, but you rattle off like 2 or 3 different choirs. Like in my brain, it's like, hey, it's the choir. We sing.
I do a cappella.
Okay, so there's an a cappella choir.
There's also a show choir, which is
Very
relatively
nice.
new.
Yes,
Show,
and
a cappella, symphonic, and chamber.
Show, a cappella, symphonic, and chamber. Wow.
Yes.
Four.
So show choir is dancing and singing. Acapella is think of like Pitch Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's
Yeah,
a horrible
literally.
reference, but yes. Yes. And then chambers our second audition group, and then symphonic is being more of a building skills group, intro to choir group. So happy to have them all. The show choir was started last year, and acapella choir got added in a week before the school year started this year because we had lots of kids. So just super excited to get to start a second choir, or fourth choir.
So with you being full-time now at the high school, is there still 0 hour?
Yes.
So these kids all, these are the kids that come in early?
Super early.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
7 a.m.
Well, bravo.
Yeah.
We also have, how many of you are band kids? So we have lots of band
Wow.
kids. How many of you are orchestra kids? How many kids play sports? 8th grader? Andre's right. So we pull from a very large demographic of the students, and so I'm really thankful that I get to work with so many diverse kids, especially that early in the morning. It's lots of coffee, but it's lots of fun too.
Well, thank you, Alon. Anyone else?
I'm curious, as section leaders, what is it that you find to be the most challenging as a leader? Because as we know, leadership, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, without a doubt. But as section leaders, when you are leading your peers, your own age group, what are some of the things you find rewarding and challenging with it?
For me, something I find challenging is finding the line between these are my friends and these are people I'm supposed to be teaching music. So it's really, really fun once you find that balance of knowing how much you can sit around and laugh about stuff and how much time you need to spend learning music. And I think with the sopranos so far this year, we're leaning a little bit towards the fun side, but hey, we're having fun. And we sound good sometimes. That's how I feel.
Relationships before rigor.
With no doubt about it. I love it. Anyone else?
Is there still an all-state choir?
Yes, Kathleen Anderson over at Centerville is the individual for this area that pulls for all of that.
Do we
So,
have anyone who's participating?
Not yet. I haven't chatted about it yet.
Okay.
So, but thank you for reminding me. Actually.
Well, I can let you listen to my old albums, okay? Everyone, thank you so much, because those of you who are athletes, as musicians, whether it be in choir or in band or in orchestra, or whether you're out there playing a sport, you represent us well, and we appreciate it. You know, music has been the instrumental part, pardon that expression, the instrumental part of my life, and having participated in concert choir, what was concert choir and madrigals and all state and everything else. The music history of Richmond High School has been rich for the last 70, 80 years. And it's great to see under the leadership and also under your participation it's going to continue. So always inspire your brothers and sisters and your friends to participate, please.
I want to echo that. I'm so glad to see a room full of choir students. I also did concert choir, chamber, and madrigals, show choir, and it was such an awesome part of my high school experience. So I'm glad that you all are doing that sort of thing also. So kudos.
Well, I flunked 8th grade choir, that's a true story. Show, madrigal, whatever it may have been. Mrs. Jefferson, I apologize, Mrs. Jefferson, if you're out there watching, but you will never bend alone. I love the selection. I love the song, the sacrifice you all are making. 7 a.m. for high schoolers. That means that you all are getting up about 5:30 for those of us with hair that has to do it.
Yeah.
And some others are with traffic, and some of you all walking, and you're making sacrifices, but the sound, the experience, just remarkable. And so while you may never bend alone, we're all bending one way or another with you, but we all will never break. So great selection, Mr. Peterborough. Great job, everyone. Mr. Stevens, while they're exiting, would you like to enlighten us or delight us with your skill sets? Or you, Mrs. Stoltz? Yeah, being that you all are.
Without a song, the day would never end.
That one wasn't.
What would you like to do? I would love to duet with Miss Stoltz.
Yeah, well, maybe we can put that on the schedule. Next time.
Yes, Keith.
I get a bill.
It was not classically trained. Trained in the mean streets.
It's okay. Some got it in the water. That's why the shower.
I was told to shut up because my voice wasn't. Okay, moving on to item 3, public commentary. Before we begin, I'll read a brief statement. The Board of School Trustees recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on corporation matters. The board wants to ensure that the public feels welcome and that the concerns are answered in a timely, efficient manner. The maximum time for individual speakers is 5 minutes per person. The board expects personal decorum and factual information from the speaker. The president reserves the right to interrupt the speaker when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, and obscene, or if it interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Comments recognizing the work of staff and students are always welcome. However, critical remarks concerning specific school personnel or students are to be made through the complaint process available in policy 8130. School members do not respond to public comments during the meeting. The particular participant will receive a follow-up email from the board president within a week. Thank you. Mrs. Claypool?
Amy Robinson.
All right, only second time I've spoken in front of the board, and the first time was when we did the freshman academy. So I'm Amy Robinson, I teach math at Hibbert. I'm here with quite a few concerns. Next month is fall break, but the way this year started, it should be spring break. My first agenda, if anybody in this room has talked to me, you know my first thing on my agenda is I have 4 kids sitting in Hibbert that do not have textbooks to this day. We are 2 days away from the end of the first grading period, and I have 4 kids who sit with no textbooks. I I didn't get my teacher's edition until last Thursday for 2 of my classes. I just think, and I've went the route. So on the 8th, I unpacked CPM books. The 8th in the afternoon, some of the Ready Math books showed up. I gave a full list of missing books on August 9th. It was put on some spreadsheet, and when I go like this, because it's out there virtually, I'm an old person, I like paper. I emailed building administration all the way up through corporate administration on the 30th. Like I said, I've got 2 7th graders without an instruction book. I got a 6th grader without an instruction book, and I got a 6th grader without an instruction book or a practice book. So that student has nothing. And I guess part of my frustration is I keep on getting these videos that saying we can do better, but I can't do better when the resources aren't in my kids' hands. It's really frustrating to me. My second thing I have, since I was out for a few days, is the question of why don't we even expect CDC guidelines to be followed for COVID. So the last I heard was you're out 5 days, you wear a mask for 5 days since I was out with COVID, hence the mask. I know we can't make them, we can't track all those kids, but we could at least put it out there as an expectation, I would think. Instead of the kids just returning and here I am, happy smiley face, and I mean, I almost made it 3 years and it got me. Leading up to that. So on Thursday, September 1st, I was feeling pretty yucky. So I took my first COVID test and it came back negative. I was told to test again in 5 days, which would have been Tuesday, September 6th. I did go ahead and leave my lesson plans for Friday, but on that Friday I got word that we had a teacher that was being pulled from Hibbert Preparatory Academy. That left us changing our whole schedule. So I know the change was necessary, it's warranted, but did we really have to wait 4 weeks into the school year to uproot teachers, students, all that fun jazz? Again, it was warranted, but timing, not so good. So I went into school on that Tuesday, which was my day to test, just because I knew I had new kids, new classes, new schedule, had to be there. I did test positive, which brings me to the whole mask. I think when the kids come back, we should expect them, at least have the expectation that they wear their mask. Next thing I had, so
1 minute.
oh, that's fine. During that week I was off for COVID, that was the first time I had taken anything home from school since summer. The reasoning being, last year I went to the nurse with bumps on my arms, and she said those were bed bug bites. And so I let environmental services know, let my building administrator know. Okay, well, we have to have evidence. So I took my backpack home for summer to get ready for, my 4 new classes that I have to teach this year. And there's bed bugs in my backpack that was laying on my floor. So I set it out in the sun because he's supposed to do something. I take all my stuff back to school. So on October the 7th, I went down and I gave them 2 pieces of material for their evidence, 2 bed bugs that I got out of my classroom. We don't do anything. All we can do is sweep. Well, they swept and cleaned carpets over the summer, so evidently it didn't get rid of the bed bugs. On August 30th, I took them another bed bug. We still don't do anything for bed bugs. I don't know why it comes to something like today for a big incident to blow up for something to be done. I got told that we don't do anything because the students are going to come back the next day that have the bed bugs or they're going to reinfect it. Well, I don't have bed bugs, and half or more of my students probably don't have bed bugs. Is it fair to them to take them home? I think not. Again, we need to do better.
I defer my time to her, just so we're clear. I'm not actually speaking. I'm next on the list.
It's not, it's 5 minutes per individual,
Oh, okay, yeah.
so
that
you're
was-
welcome to speak.
Okay.
You wanna sign up?
Thank you.
Or you wanna talk about it?
So Amanda,
Yes.
So who's next?
Amanda Mall.
Okay.
It's
Again. I'm sure you all are tired of me, and I apologize because great things are happening, but also there are concerns, and we care about our kids, so we want to make sure that they're taken care of, right? That's the goal. It's the kids. We've been talking. The calendar on the website has 187 work days. She brought this to Kelly's attention on August 12th. It is 6 weeks in, it has not been changed, so we need to look at the numbers on that. And trust me, she knows numbers because she teaches math and I don't. So, if I'm being honest. And something interesting, STEAM Academy of Progression, I'm super interested as well in joining and helping with that because I know the climate in Hibbard, and it is a very positive climate for our kids, as most of you would agree. And also there are great things at Dennis, but I'll say that for another time. We submitted a grant for STEAM in August. Have we posted the director position, and have we had architects in the building? These are all questions my good friend and coworker have about that. So, and I would like to say that I'm very, very thankful. This is a little off topic. For the REA, because our teachers have really came together at Dennis, and we really help each other out when we are in dire need for paras. We have maybe 2 paras left in the entire building, and I'm not even upset with them because the pay rate is a slap in the face. But I never realized how important a para was until I was a teacher with special education children in my room. And I love special education teachers, and I love being able to help my kids because they're amazing. They want to learn to read. They want to go on and do amazing things at the high school. So I don't know what the solution is because that's not my job, frankly. But if we could figure out something about the pairs, maybe an incentive or a bonus for signing up, because those people are so important, and it's crazy to me that they think they're not important because they are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marianne Avery.
Hello, I'm Marianne Avery from Richmond High School. Thank you again to those of you who came and helped with lunch and classes. All of you are invited every day because we are still short-staffed. Ditto to the earlier comments about COVID concerns and bedbug concerns, same at the high school. Yes, good things are happening. We're starting to get out to job sites in my classroom, and coffee shop is booming, so those are all good things. I did come prepared to share some stories of how lack of staffing is affecting our ability to serve students well. But I was inspired by the Chamber Choir's song choice. Our paras and staff are bending, sometimes literally to assist students in toileting. Like trees, our paras may uproot themselves to seek other jobs, other woods with better support, such as benefits. I will come wearing my It Is Time shirt until we are fully staffed. The best bet at hiring and retaining quality staff is providing competitive pay and benefits. Those of us here already protect and bend with each other, but a thinner woods provides less ability to shelter. Billy Wright and I are birthday twins. Tomorrow, our birthday, I would like affordable benefits for all. That's my request for a birthday present. That would be the best present I could possibly receive.
Thank you.
Lisa Phil.
Hello everybody, I'm Lisa Felsman. I am mother of Naomi, who's in 11th grade. I have a number of different things I want to share. I was part of Challenge Day at Dennis, and echoing Amanda, what an amazing group of people who are at Dennis, and what a great group of kids. And I hope that eventually somebody from Dennis will be able to share about Challenge Day, because it was such a great experience for kids, and the school counselor was a big part of that. So good. Today was the first in-school Youth Inspire Mental Health Coalition, and we had a great turnout. Excited to see stigma reduction and acknowledgement of mental health among high school students, and I'm hoping that will grow. I wanted to also share with you that as the Richmond Music Boosters president, we support choir, band, orchestra, and doublettes. Thanks so much for having our choir tonight. We were excited to be reached out to from the Richmond Art Museum to provide concessions for their Pottery Palooza. They hadn't been able to find a food truck, so we were so excited to have our fantastic group get together and make that happen. We made $810, and we had an anonymous alumni parent reach out and match that. So we made $1,620, but that is a small drop in the bucket of what we need to replace our band uniforms, which are fading. And I don't know if you noticed with our choir students that they had multiple different outfits on. Some had like black and black, but some had the fancy dresses. So we really would love to help support our music staff in getting our kids looking fantastic and really looking as fantastic as they sound. So I want to give thanks and praise to Dr. Wright for making time to meet with the Angry Moms / Concerned Moms Club. He gave us 2 hours of his time, and we thank him so much for listening to us, giving us feedback, hearing us, especially around safety, equity, morale. One of the things that was brought up was that at the beginning of the school year, there was a speaker brought in who talked about surprise and delight. And that is something we would all love to see more of in our kids' classrooms. But we'd also love to see it for our teachers. We'd love for our teachers to feel a sense of surprise and delight and joy when they come into their workplace and feel really good. We want them to stay. Our kids care about their teachers. We want them to stay with us for a long, long time and keep investing in our kids. So I just would love to have the board think about how could you bring those elements more, not only to students, but to staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Clayton. Moving on to item 4, consent items. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I come before you to ask for approval as presented. Consent items 4.01 and 4.02 with addendum, again, as presented, sir.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent items as presented to include the addendum.
And I'll second it.
Motion by Jeff Slifer, second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item 5, action items. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I yet again return to ask that Mrs. Karen Scalf, our Chief Financial Officer, present action items 5.01 through 5.04. Mrs. Scalf.
Good evening. Before you tonight for the first action item is the request to advertise the 2023 budgets. If you were able to read the email from yesterday that provided the minutes from the Finance Working Group meeting, it was determined that upon completion of the budget, we were comfortable with the advertisement of the Form 3 in the gateway. Those forms should be done and packets will be available to you, I hope, in the coming days. So you will have that at your disposal prior to the public hearing, which will be advertised for the next board meeting. So it's my recommendation tonight that the board approves the request to advertise in Gateway and on our website. The notice to taxpayers for the 2023 budget, as well as the 2023 to 2025 capital projects plan and the 2023 to 27 bus replacement plan. The last date to advertise prior to the hearing is September 19th, so that will occur prior to that date.
Thank you.
I move that we approve action item 5.01, the request to advertise the 2023 budgets.
Motion by Kristen Brunton, second by Jeff Slifer. Any questions or comments? Mrs. Claypool says time's up.
Time's up.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Mrs. Scout.
Okay, the next action item tonight is the request to advertise for the Charles roof rebid. So we did bid this project last year. Bids came in extremely high compared to the budgeted amount, so we had to go back and modify the budget in order to figure that out, as well as make a few changes to provide alternates on that bid. So before you tonight is the notice to bidders on the Charles roof. We will be advertising in the Palladium item on Friday, September 16th, and again on September 23rd, with the bid opening to be held on Tuesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. here in the administration building.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the request to advertise the Charles roof rebid.
Second.
Motion by Nicole Stoltz, second by Aaron Stevens. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Mrs. Scout.
Okay, the next agenda item I have are change orders. Before you tonight are 6 change orders. The first is with Spear Corporation. It is a deduct of $9,475 on the RHS pool filtration contract. And then the remaining change orders are with Carroll Electric, all for the RHS mechanical modernization project. Those change orders are in the minutes, onboard docs for you. It's my recommendation tonight that we approve the change orders as they have been presented.
Thank you.
I move we approve the change orders.
Motion by Keith Morey,
Second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments?
It's nice to see a deduct.
Agreed.
Nice one too.
Yep.
Pays for the
The
other
others.
changes.
Right.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Mrs. Scout.
The last agenda item that I have for you tonight is the adult meal price change. In our food service department, the IDOE came in and looked at all of the dynamics and meal pricing orders. They come in and do audits of that information, and a part of that audit, they found that we needed to adjust our adult meal price for breakfast. It is currently $2.50. It needs to be changed to $2.75. Just a note for you, 4 total meals were utilized during the 2021-22 year, so we don't expect this to be a drastic change for anyone. So it's my recommendation tonight that the Board of School Trustees approves the change to adult breakfast and meal pricing to $2.75.
Thank you, Mrs. Scout.
I'll make the motion that we approve the meal change for 25 cents.
Motion by Jeff Slifer,
I will second.
second by Keith Morey. Any questions or comments? Well, that's wonderful. It's a great use of corporate resources. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
That's our state audit for us too.
Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that our Human Resources Director, Mrs. Jamie Bolzer, join us for action item 5.05. Mrs. Bolzer.
Good evening. Before you, you have the annual adoption of Policy 3442, which is just the Teacher Appreciation Grant, annual renewal for the 22-23 school year. There are no changes being recommended from prior years.
Thank you.
Yes.
I move to approve policy 3442, Teacher Appreciation Grant.
Motion by Aaron Stevens,
I'll second.
second by Keith Morey. Any questions or comments?
I mean, it's in policy. Does the state require us to renew it every year?
Yes.
Then we don't need it in policy, do we?
Guessing they require that as well.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Dr. Wright?
President Weber, trustees, I ask that for action item 5.06, evaluation plan, Mrs. Elisa Stewart, join us for approval.
Good evening. Indiana code requires that each school corporation submit its staff performance evaluation plan to the Department of Ed, and it requires the DOE to publish the plans on the website. We also have to publish our plan on the website. There's a cover sheet that's been completed, and it provides a reference for the Department of Ed staff to check the statute and check what we're doing to make sure we're in compliance. And the plan, in terms of the things that we're doing in the plan, haven't changed very much. There were a few tweaks, and we've made those. It had to do with the number of evaluations, basically. You made some changes during COVID years, which had to do. So, and Jeff, just for additional information, that policy that passed has to be connected to this plan. And if this plan doesn't pass, we don't get TAG grant money. It just all goes together.
I'm sorry,
So
logic, if we had to vote on it every year.
I know. So it's recommended that you approve the staff performance plan that we have.
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart. Nice to have you still here.
I move to approve action item 5.06, the teacher evaluation plan as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
I'll second.
Second by Kristen Breton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Dr. Wright?
President Weber, trustees, I now ask that our Director of Exceptional Learning, Mrs. Elizabeth Markwood, join us for action item 5.07, Applied Skills Curricular Program. Mrs. Markwood, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the following adoption materials for our K-12 Applied Skills Program. A committee of educators from the Applied Skills Program met last spring and early this fall to research, evaluate, and pilot resources from different platforms. Our recommendation is to adopt Teachtown Encore with a 5-year commitment. Teachtown Encore is a comprehensive program that grants student access to standards-based curriculum at their developmental level for English language arts, math, science, and social studies, as well as interventions to master other domains such as vocational skills, social skills, health, wellness, and transition to adulthood.
Thank you.
I move that we accept 5.07, the applied skills curriculum.
Motion by Nicole Stoltz.
Second.
Second by Aaron Stevens. Any questions or comments?
Now, does this come out of special education fund, actually fund this?
Yes. Is this physical material or is it online material or is it a mixture?
It's a mixture of both.
Okay.
Any additional questions or comments?
That's it.
Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you.
Martin. So, Martin and Jean.
Right.
All right. Moving on to item 6, policy review and update.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President. I move that we accept 6.01, Policy 4513, the care of school property, and 6.02, Policy 4630, appropriate discipline measures, I move that we pass them on second reading.
Motion by Aaron Stevens on the combined policies.
Second.
Second by Kristen Brunton. Any questions or comments on either? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item 6.03, policy 4531, student assistant programs, first reading. Happy to hear.
I move that we bundle 6.03 and 6.04, policy 4531, student assistant programs, and policy 4602, discipline procedures for students with disabilities. Move both of those on to second reading.
Motion by Kristen Brunton,
And I'll second that.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments on either of those two policies? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to our work session. I believe this is, I'll just turn it over to you, Dr. Wright.
President Weber and trustees, with regard to the work sessions, indeed, each sub-working group has met, with the exception of buildings and grounds, and that is indeed scheduled to occur here soon. However, the educational planning working group, along with finance.
The budget.
Oh, did I skip right over?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. The work session, not the board reports. I apologize.
My bad.
Yes, no, you're good. President Weber, trustees, forgive me.
Sure, Mrs. Scout would be happy to skip over it.
Mrs. Scott, I tried now. No, I'm teasing.
Miss China 13.
Yes, indeed, for work session 7.01, the budget, I do ask that our Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Karen Scout, rejoin us with a brief conversation regarding how indeed the budget is built, along with amazingly exciting things regarding the budget. Mrs. Scout.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exciting or amazing is going to be part of the program tonight, but riveting, yeah, that's the old word of choice, isn't it? So, but we are going to take a brief moment to just talk about how the budget is built, as it is that time. We did talk about this at the finance working group yesterday, as well as go over some more of the details of the budget. Those will be presented with the public hearing, so you will see those in your packet, and we will go over those next week. But in an effort not to duplicate, we're just going to take some high-level looks at how the budget's built and what it contains. So just for you, I put together a couple of slides that are just super quick in how things work and where I get the information. So the first step in building the budget is monitoring. Monitoring happens 24/7, 365 around here. So as you'll notice, sometimes when you are making decisions, I'm making notes on the decisions that you make and how they may impact the budget, so that I can continue to keep track of that and put it in the folders for whatever year that may affect. I also do that on a daily basis with our cash flow, as well as monthly, as we reconcile the books and continue to track throughout the year our spending, our needs, as we plan and prepare for things throughout the year. So I also discuss needs with administrators. So building principals, I will either meet with them or we'll talk about it at the leadership meetings that we have at least monthly. And I'll just check with them, see if there's anything that they need or anything that they see coming. Sometimes they will have special requests that I can make work with their building. So one example, principal may want a little bit more in PD than they want in supplies, and so we net that difference when they need that. That gives them some flexibility in their buildings as they need it as well. So I also work with our facility directors as we build the capital plan. We actually monitor and build this each year throughout the year, so it's not like a one and done thing. What you see is just the end result of months and months of work. and a full year coming to fruition on projects that are complete and things that we have seen throughout the year come into play that we need to be planning for, as well as those routine replacements such as roofs and things like that. The last and equally important person that I meet with is the superintendent, just to make sure that there's nothing on his horizon that I need to be aware of, things that may have been decided when I'm not in the room, things that are coming that I need to be aware of, and then we work through those logistics as well. And then just throughout the way, as we're in meetings, I'm always notating what I need to remember. I have budget folders that I start for the next year before the year is over, and then continue to make notes and adjustments along the way. As it's built, we do follow a zero-based budget, so I start July 1 or whenever that June 30 fiscal year is balanced. We actually start our budget with actual expenditures from the year before, and then we make adjustments based on any salary changes or benefit needs, as well as considerations by state mandated changes or board approvals that maybe change programmatic needs. And then admin, as I said, we discuss with admin those needs and requests that they have had. Finally, the actual documents are prepared. I utilize a budget worksheet. Everything's on a spreadsheet before it goes into any forms. That allows me the ability to kind of look at things ahead of time. We sort that both by program, by building, and by object, which means type of expense or area. And so those are all checked. Then we place those on the state required forms, hold the public hearing, which we'll do at the next meeting, and then we approve the budget. So all of those pieces are interactive, and you are a part of each of that area. And then finally, we do receive our rates and levies from the DLGF on or before December 31st of each year. Depending on when that falls, if it's a weekend, it'll be the Friday before that. And then that prepares us for 2023 budget implementation. And then we move on and start it all over for the next year. So the budget process, I thought we'd just quickly go over our funds and what they mean, what their job is, and how they're funded. So the education fund is for curricular needs. Anything and anyone that touches a classroom is primarily in this fund. It is also funded by state basic grant. That is based on average daily membership, which is student count. So that is a state fund that is budgeted through the state budget, and our funding is determined by the state budget. Just a note, next year is the annual budget year, and so we will be prepared for changes that come. Preliminarily, in some areas that I attend, we've been told to be ready. So just to note, as we look ahead, they did provide us additional funding last time, and so with that, we just don't know what the next steps will be. So we'll be monitoring that, and I'll share more as I know it, but so far that's all I've heard, so I'll take it. The debt service fund is actuals based on amortization schedules for bonds that we've issued. We do have 3 bond issuances in our debt service funds as of today, and then that fund also covers bank fees and textbook reimbursement. For the bank fees are directly related to the bonds, and then textbook reimbursement is based on free and reduced applications. This fund is property tax funded. The one thing to note is the circuit breakers do not hit this fund because your debt has to be fully funded before circuit breakers take place. So, operations fund. This one's the fun one. So it covers all of the facilities, which is utilities, maintenance, custodial, and technology. It covers your administrative needs from the district, so your board, superintendent, personnel, finance, and then infrastructure and technology. Transportation, bus replacement, it is property tax funded and is subject to circuit breaker tax cap credits. Our estimate for next year is actually 59% of our fund.
Mrs. Scaff, could you take a moment and just explain the circuit breakers so
Yes.
the public
has a maybe better understanding.
Absolutely. So circuit breakers or tax cap credits are to the taxpayer a credit to their taxes that they do not have to pay. So for homeowners with 1 acre and house, that is 1%. So if your tax is a $3 rate, you're going to pay maximum of $1 on that $3 rate because it's a 1% cap. If you are
Based on assessed value.
Based on assessed value, correct. If you are a landowner, but it's not homestead property, which is what they consider the house 1 acre, that is a 2% cap. And then commercial land, which is all other, is 3%. And there are some fine details to that, but generally speaking, that's how that works. The circuit breakers and tax caps, if assessed value is going up, and as long as your tax rates are not going up, then your circuit breaker credits will go down as a unit of government. If your budget rates are going up, your tax rates are up, and your AVs are up, your circuit breakers are also going to continue to go up. So it's an interesting nuance to this fund that does create its own challenges. One thing I'll note is our estimated AV did go up slightly for next year. So while this is projected at a 59% circuit breaker loss to us, I do think that is overstated. So we have been hovering about 37% for the last 2 years, so I would expect it to fall somewhere around there again. Considering the AV change, however, I do not know what everyone else's budgets look like yet, and what I have found is that they do not go down. And so our current tax rate in the primary part of our district is well over 4.5%. And so every person in our district just about hits some type of circuit breaker tax cap credit. So our impact is pretty high.
Thanks.
Yes, and so the rainy day fund is board approved one-time expenditures. It does not roll over. You do not have to appropriate it every single year. Some years we do, some years we don't. And so the other use for that here at RCS is temporary transfers to depleted funds for cash flow purposes. And you do have to have cash balance already. It is not tax funded. You have to have cash in reserve before they will appropriate it. So you have to transfer from other funds into that fund if you want to use it, if you're saving toward that purpose. So those are our funds in a nutshell that you see in the budget. Just some quick overviews of the operations fund because it does have so many pieces to it. The bus replacement area of that fund, the DLGF requires a 5-year plan. We at RCS continue with the previous requirement of a 12-year plan, and that's so that we can continue to maintain our buses appropriately and replace them on a good schedule. What I will note is, if you remember, for those of you that were on the board during that time, we made our plan more equitable, and so we pushed some buses 1 year so that we could have a 5-bus replacement each year so that the budget could maintain that much more simply than our year with the 10-bus replacement. So that is how our plan looks right now. One thing to know, next year, the proposal on the budget that you will see is to take one replacement of a large yellow bus, and we are going to replace it with 2 small yellow buses. The reason for that is you do not have to have a CDL to drive the smaller buses. You still have to go through all of the training, test, get your gold card, but you don't have to have the CDL portion. And we are hoping that assists with finding drivers on some of our smaller routes that we can break up and utilize in a different way. That would put us at 3 small yellow buses. So we're going to do a 2-for-1 on that one, which will increase our bus replacement plan by 1 bus. The cost of that is minimally different than 1 large bus. It is a little bit more, but not dramatically. So the next piece is transportation. We do have a contract with Student Transit. One thing to note on this is we will be opening that contract soon as the normal renewal is up this next spring. So we will be opening that soon. You should see an executive summary from me coming in the near future with what that contract contains now, how it works, and what to expect with the renewal. So that will be headed your way soon. Also in the transportation area, we have software and supplies. The example is BusBoss. So that's our routing software, and then the maintenance of buses occurs in the transportation fund as well. One thing also to note is we have transportation monitors. So they are personnel that assist in the buildings with arrival and dismissal, and that is in that area as well. So you will see a little bit of salaries in that area. Capital projects. This is the what I would say pseudo bulk of the fund, and that is your facilities. It includes utilities, property and casualty insurance, technology, and it does require a plan. So the bus replacement area also has a plan, but the capital is also required. In your packet, you will have not only just the mandatory DLGF plan, but you will have the 10-year RCS facility plan as well. And that has been a part of your packet for at least last year. So we are happy to have that continue to be updated. The last piece of the operations fund is district administration. This is a part of the fund that is fairly new to these areas, and that is a portion of this fund is transferred from the education fund to the operations fund, and that is statutory. That is for these areas, with the exception of technology infrastructure, your board area, superintendent area, human resources area, business office area, and maintenance and custodial. So those are the areas of district administration that they said they're non-curricular, they have to come out, even though it takes all of us to make school run. So that's how the operations fund works. And then lastly, before you is the budget calendar. And for those of you in the facility working group, I have updated it to what we discussed yesterday. Tonight we did the request to advertise, which will happen soon. And then at the next board meeting, we will hold our public hearing on the budgets. So if you have questions between now and then, please don't hesitate to contact me. When you get your packets, they will be large and full of information. Just be sure to review those so that at the public hearing, if you have questions, you can ask them because members of our public may have those questions as well. So the date for approval and adoption of the budgets is Wednesday, October 12th. So that's a date to keep in mind, and that will get us in line well before the required DLGF adoption date. So that is my very quick budget synopsis for tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Mrs.
Just hopeful that as this comes out, 'cause I know a few of us have asked about it, and we've heard public commentary about our need for support staff and those sorts of things. I'm hopeful we'll see some moves there where we can.
So I'll just clarify that.
Okay.
It's separate of the budget that you're going to be talking about when we talk about this, because what we're doing is we're approving appropriations, which is the authority to spend.
Gotcha.
So those conversations will be coming, but they will not be a part of this process.
Okay. So is there a separate timeline for those conversations then?
Well, we'd like to do it as soon as possible,
Yeah.
but I have to get the portions done for this so that I can get to that next, because this has statutory deadlines on it that I'm running really tight on. And so as soon as that is finished, that's the next thing that we'll tackle.
It's been the same too with us, that September is often a very heavily deadline focused with the state requirements, the DOE and other grants that we must get because they are very crucial to be able to fund the overall school operations. So that I know that both of our shifts will go directly to that.
Any other questions?
All right, not till we see the detail, right?
It's coming, we got a preview, so there's a lot. I guess moving on to board reports and old business. Educational Planning Working Group.
I would like to apologize to the board ahead of time and ahead of the presentations and my inability to participate over the last number of weeks. And if you can understand what's been happening, you know, hopefully it'll explain my absence.
We got you covered.
Thank you.
When you're ready to return, let us know. Thank you, though.
We have not met.
There's a meeting
Yeah,
coming
we
up,
have
I
a
believe.
meeting prior to the next board, like the day before the next board.
27
meeting.
or 27.
I believe that's got a pretty full agenda, I've heard.
Yes.
So, all right.
When is that? I'm sorry?
27th at 4:30. Here.
All right, moving on to building and grounds.
Yeah, I've been trying to coordinate schedules. I need to talk to Brad since he's been out, but we'll probably lean towards a meeting next week. It's looking like Wednesday if it's acceptable for Brad, but I'm going to be sending an email to the group asking for them to think about next year, believe it or not. One of the goals that I would like to see happen for the group is as we develop these and work our ways through the process, I would like to get more looking into the future versus more reactive. So part of what I want to work on is creating an agenda for the next year or even maybe the next 3 years. So we have targets and things that we need to look at that we know is going to happen as we look forward. The budget process will help some of that because of the requirement of how you have to report the budget in the operation with your projects coming up for the next year. That'll help guide us. But also I've been collecting information along the way from different members or administrators that have made comments like, well, we would like to look at recycling, or we would like to look at solar, or we would like to look at, and many individuals have responded, well, that sounds like it should go to that working group. So with that being said, now is the time to think about those things. So I would like to start developing that next week. So if you have comments or thoughts like recycling is an issue or a topic, or send those to the members of the group. So that's the direction that I'd kind of like to go in to get something started. I know there's some things that when we had our finance meeting group yesterday, Karen talked about the floor at the high school needs to be on there. She was very quick to give me 3 or 4 items that we can talk about.
Yes, I was.
So, but it doesn't help any of us to work with these committees and be so reactive. You know, like for example, when we did the smokestack, I mean, yeah, whatever it is, I just like to know it's coming instead of our back is up against the wall and we gotta make a decision in 2 days. I mean, that's not efficient. And getting this group or the people involved in those groups together sometimes is not easy, finding a common time. So I try to respect that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know the group, I guess reactive is the best word. I mean, seems to me to make a decision almost every time, where I think we've, as the board, have charged that group. I know in the past year with investigating multiple things. I think the solar audit was the one that comes to mind first of all.
Well, we need a HIP discussion.
the STEAM facility. And I think that's the type of subjects I think the idea for the working group is to do. Right. A forward thinking, what comes down the road.
Something that can be a heads up for the other board members that we can say, this is coming. Here's the options that we like. You know,
yes.
Has never been the intent of the group to make the decision for the majority.
Yes.
Actually, that should never happen.
Well, but we expect recommendations.
Right, but that's a difference. That's, you know, but until we can get to a point that we can push a little forward and start thinking, yeah, we're not going to catch anything. But I think in our group specifically, I think it's going to be easier for us because for most of the projects, those have to be planned in advance. I mean, you have to collect money in advance. You have to talk to a lot of sources in advance. Like the Hibbert project, for example, that's on the agenda. I mean, we got to get an architect involved. We have to get school administration and people involved in that program. I mean, so there's a lot of communication that needs to take place, and I think if we do anything in that group, is we filter out and set that agenda to help us know what we've got to work towards, because we understand how board business works. We'll go through 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks where we don't have a chance to breathe. You know, we got something going on 2 or 3 or 4 times that week. And then when we get that 2-week break, where it isn't so hectic, we all sit back and take a breath, where we should be doing that. We should be leveling out our work. So, but anyway, that's my goal. I'm going to be sending an email out to the board, repeating all of this, asking for those topics, because I really would like to work on an agenda for the future and keep it rolling.
It's not be Sunday night.
It might be Tuesday night before the meeting on Wednesday. I don't know. That's why I'm saying, I'm giving everybody a heads up. Think about it now.
Yeah.
Send it to us.
And then I've
Nicole,
got
Brad, and I are on the committee.
Yes, a couple of other things in regards to building and grounds. So John Hamilton had sent to the board just an email recently that I wanted to highlight just in regards to the bed bugs issue that was brought up. He did say that in the way those are treated, or the protocol, so to speak, is that the staff does an inspection to verify that there are indeed bed bugs and the extent of the infestation. They will then sweep the room in question, seal and dispose of the sweeper bag. If the infestation is large enough, we immediately contact the pest company and have them do an inspection and treat as quickly as possible. We make every effort to address this issue and exterminate the concern within 24 hours. Please note that bed bugs can be brought in daily and cause reinfestation, which would then require re-implementation of this process. So it's good to know what the protocol is and what's being done, and also if we need to do something different to do it more efficiently or effectively. So that was one thing I wanted to highlight as far as buildings and grounds. And then also, I know Glenn and John both gave us a beautiful rundown on board update, like they always do. Thank you guys for that. And I just wanted to highlight that in regards to McGuire Hall, he had said that the fly rail is scheduled to be installed in a couple of weeks. So I was glad to see that. I know there was some that had been overlooked initially, and so we've got that coming so that the theater will be operable as a theater. So that was a concern that we had talked about as a board. So that's it.
Well, I'm going to add that on this. I don't know, Karen, as well. The Redevelopment Commission met with, actually, we met with them because we held I'm on the Redevelopment Commission for those who don't know that. And we met at McGuire yesterday, and the only agenda item was for them to see where the money that they helped support that project, where it went. I felt it was very positive. The place was, if it had been there a week ago, we would have been crying because it was not so nice looking, because it was dirty, but I mean, they've done a really good job cleaning it up. They've got the final cosmetic painting coming in. I think every member of the Redevelopment Commission was very appreciative. And Karen did an excellent job of leading that meeting and explaining the process and thanking them. And I mean, Sean Dingworth was there. I mean, it was good because I really felt like, and I've been involved with the commission for quite some time. It's really the very first time that I really felt like we had a link with the Redevelopment Commission. And I think we proved to them that we are capable of doing projects like that. So I think if we have another project like that that would benefit the community as well as the school system, I think they'll be much more likely to be involved.
And
Karen, anything else?
I was just really excited because at least one member said, "I expect to see you back," and I said, "Of course." He did, and there were nodding heads in there that they wanted to work with us again, and so I think that is really exciting for our community. I'm so thankful that they were willing to hear us out and make the decisions that they made. The group is really
it's a good group.
Varied group of people with extremely unique skill sets in a lot of varied areas for our community. And it's really exciting to see that there's a future that we can now look toward together and making some things happen for RCS and for them and for our community. And so it's
we got a
very
surprise
exciting.
coming from Sean to even up it up.
We do.
So
We
that's
do.
all you're going to
So,
hear. That's all we're going to say.
So it'll be exciting. We did talk about we will have a community open house soon. We want to make sure the work is done and all of the occupancy permits are in place and finished and everything is ready, but we would like to have that prior to any events. So we'll be working on that soon. But we're really excited. Sean shared with us they already have an event scheduled and maybe two. We have an event in the works as well with the art museum and us. It's not really an art museum event, however, there are connections which make that work seamlessly. So it's an exciting time.
It was very positive.
Well, just to add on to those events, I went to the Pottery Palooza. It was packed out, perfect weather, beautiful day for it, tons of people there. So, and as they mentioned, the boosters had a chance to run the concessions, made some good money. So kudos on that event. That was a really cool event.
I couldn't think of anything negative out of it at all.
No, it was
All
a
of
really
the
great day.
vendors I talked to said that they'd had a very good day as far as sales. So yeah, it was a good.
That's it for the facility, buildings and grounds.
Thank you both. Moving on to Finance Working Group. Kristen, Jay.
I like Kristen though.
Everything that Karen just said.
Please refer back to the 7-page document.
Ditto.
We got a 60-page front and back document. But yeah, I think Karen did a great job of kind of walking us through, maybe in more detail than what's here, the budget for many hours. So.
And helped us also put some things on the agenda for the future for discussion.
Right.
Again, ideas, thoughts, send them to Kristen.
Email them to me.
Not on Sunday nights.
And then we did get off track a little bit. I had some questions, but there were some additional just kind of related topics that I thought we covered in a lot of detail that really helped. So I appreciate that. Anything else, finance? All right, marketing? No.
Do you want to talk?
I don't think I was there, so.
I'll talk then. Okay, so we've had several videos that have gone out since we last met, and we've had good feedback to that. These videos are relating directly to our strategic plan goal of improving community relations. And so, and for those who have not seen our strategic plan, looks like this, and hopefully it's starting to circulate and people are looking at it and kind of seeing where we're heading as a school district and what that's going to look like. And so that the videos are very much a part of that. So that's kind of one of the main things that we were discussing for marketing. So.
So, new banners are out there with all this student work. Look cool.
Pretty soon we'll be capturing the voices of not only our students, but also faculty and staff, and capturing a lot of other amazing things that are indeed occurring, and also capturing things that we still have areas of improvement, and the folks that indeed will be in the saddle committed to such improvements.
Well, it was nice. I know when we did the intro to the new faces at Central Office, I mean, that was just someone that doesn't like to be on camera filmed. I appreciate all those efforts because that was really nice for people to see who's behind the wheel.
And how many grads there are, that was super fun. Yeah.
Non-grads too.
And kudos again to our communications specialist, Mrs. Bridget Hazel Baker. She is quite a magician. Quite a magician with such digital skill sets. And so,
So she wants to drown. All right. Moving on to finally concluding other discussion or board reports.
I wanted to mention something about Every Child Can Read. I know Dr. Wright mentioned the partnership in his last video, but Every Child Can Read, we probably know them from Third Grade Academy, and then now is the Reading Academy in the summer, but they're doing a great job now of gathering together retired teachers and other community members who are interested in helping in the classroom. And so they've held trainings, and I went to one of those trainings, but training the community members on how to do running records, which is basically listening to a child read and recording down kind of their mistakes or what they, and for the teacher. It's a type of assessment. And so it was just really great to see so many community members and past teachers who want to help. And so in the last couple weeks, these teachers have been assigned to different schools. I've been assigned to Vail. I'm part of the SWAT team there. And our goal is to go in, and every school has appoint people and volunteers who help the teachers with assessments. So that's, I mean, it takes a lot of time for educators to do the required assessments. And so that's been really rewarding to see so many people want to go in and help, but also help relieve the pressure on teachers to complete those. So the first benchmark of running records had to be completed. I think they're all done in all the schools now. And the next group that we'll go back in for will be Dyslexia Assessments, along with there's more benchmarks. So it's great that so many people are wanting to help teachers and help provide assistance, hands-on assistance in the classroom so that they can keep teaching, and the people can pull students aside and do those necessary assessments to guide instruction. So I just wanted to kind of give a kudos out to Every Child Can Read and the volunteers that work through them to help our schools and our classrooms and ultimately the students.
Fantastic. Anything from anyone else?
Oh, I wanted to just let everybody know that we met with the REA on Monday, the exec committee. So John, Jeff, and I met with the REA on Monday and just had a very encouraging dialogue in which they were able to just share some of their concerns as well as some of the victories too. I was glad to hear, a little both, and so it was a very encouraging dialogue. So just wanted to report that.
All right.
I think that's awesome. I mean, we need to keep having those conversations where we really are all on the same team. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but that's our goal. So I think it was also mentioned in Ms. Felsman during public commentary, but Challenge Day went, anybody? Yeah, so we had a number of people that were able to participate. It's just a really great program, and I'm hopeful that they can build from what they've had on those experiences and carry that through the rest of the school year. It would be neat to hear from somebody. I know they're super duper busy and trying to get lots of things going, but if we could have somebody, staff, students, anybody that was interested in coming and kind of giving us a rundown, I think it would be really good for the public to hear.
I mean,
Sort of stuff it was doing.
I was there Tuesday, and I mean, I'd done it before, so I had a little more sense of what it was. But I would say the highlight, I had 3 young men in my group, and in general, I mean, really not in general, the student body was superbly well behaved. They were glad to be there. My 3 guys that I worked with mostly were just fine young men, and from pretty difficult backgrounds, and so it was just really nice to be. I mean, it's always nice to be around kids. I mean, that's kind of why we're here, and so I think from that perspective, that's kind of what I took away the most, is just kind of building some little relationships there.
Carolyn?
Yeah.
And Dawn and or Jamie were both there too. Okay,
Mhm.
I'd
Yeah.
love to hear
Yeah,
what you guys thought or your perspectives.
Well, I can tell you it was really impactful for me being new to not only the school corporation but to the community. So it gave me a huge glimpse into the struggles that some of our students are faced with, but also their large hearts, because I was blown away to see this group. I was there on Wednesday, that inner, and I don't think they know what they're walking into. I know I certainly did not. And to see this entire gym come together by the end and hug together, cry together, and just come together, and to see leaders really stand out, whether they were football players, band members, regardless, you could see them take that initial step, and you would see others feel secure in following them take those steps as a part of the end of the challenge day, the step across the line. So I know it gave me a renewed purpose personally, because you're able to see, like Mr. Weber said, and feel the kids. And so I know I was very appreciative to be a part of it, and also really appreciate those that took the time to put that together. That's a lot of, I'm sure, volunteer work that they were doing. And so I'm certainly proud of them, but also the students for just taking that step of trust and to do so. So I know I personally would like to follow up with the kids. I just got the survey result back, and was going to talk to Mrs. Hanley, the counselor. I know she was busy, just because I think that the follow-up is really important.
I believe a Bolser was involved.
There was. I will say Leslie Bolser put in a lot of time, and I was certainly very proud of her.
And she
for
has
her
been,
work.
I can say personally from my own standpoint that she has been very supportive, helpful, and I sent her an email, so I miscounted, I need a few more shirts in the next. I'm like, what's on the porch? Oh, this my shirts, they're already there. She's all over the county, making sure everybody's getting what they need, and it's a really big, I know it's a passion of hers as well, but it shows because she's super dedicated to it and making a big difference for a whole lot of kids. What you said though is accurate. I don't know how they do it, but there is magic to turn those kids who are like, what the heck, you guys are all weirdos. I mean, literally, when they're walking in and you're cheering for them, to go from there to like.
Well, I felt like a weirdo.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody, but that's the whole point, right?
Yes.
But they're like in a 6-hour span of time to get kids who would never even speak or acknowledge each other in passing in the hallway,
Well,
to
to
be
go
hugging it out and going,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I appreciate you, and apologizing it. Just that's the magic in that vulnerability of putting yourself out there.
I like that, the magic and the vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I took away too, is just knowing what other elements that we can place that into in our daily walks, whether it's how we approach, our coworkers or those that we work for or work with. And I think that I took that away certainly from that experience too.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't share that with regard to such an experience and just of what we understand. I think it was a shedding of light on the trauma that indeed our students, as well as even faculty and staff, just generally experience. And so one of the things that we've been challenging one another. And one of the things that, as we are level setting, if you will, and reviewing, reflecting, and revising where necessary, our orders of operations, we're emphasizing walking the talk. And so as Mrs. Bolzer mentioned, that follow through, that follow up, if you will, what we're working to do now is reestablish the calendar committee to find ways in which to build within our schedule areas in time for professional development so that our educators indeed can be trained on the best practices regarding to serving students.
They do offer Challenge Day for adults.
I asked actually.
They actually do.
Yeah,
I asked.
They do, and I think it would be a wonderful opportunity.
I actually came back and reported that
Yes.
back, that I felt like that would be a wonderful opportunity.
But we're definitely looking to do just that and increase upon our ability to professionally develop our faculty and staff, which have stated that indeed they are seeking such professional development in this area as well as many others. But I think it's that old adage that students don't necessarily care how much you know until they know how much you care. And like you said, in a 6-hour period, to turn around some of the hardest edged students.
That is amazing to go from awkward to awesome, just in that amount of time.
Well, I related an odd, ours kind of broke and kind of as you're around kids at the lunch break, and I learned the bathroom etiquette, which is kind of weird, and we're all in line and there's 2 stalls and the kids are only using one because there's no divider wall. And and so we started talking about it, and I'm like, well, and then but I went up and used it, and other kids, and it was weird because that was kind of the moment that we kind of broke, that we but to see how middle school kids, that was a huge deal.
Oh yeah, take them to a Pacers game. That's a blast.
And so, so I related all these stories about the old Ohio Stadium and
the trough. The trough.
And but it was just it's like
This conversation's going down.
I agree. I hesitate to say it, but it's important. That was the thing that kind of made our little group kind of flip, and it's that little whatever. And so you just never know. But yeah, a good event for all.
So Dawn, I'd love to hear your.
I will definitely add, one of my favorites is the crossing the line activity, and I think that's the game changer for me when you see students and staff, throwing up the I love you sign, and that idea of like, I've been there, I hear you, or I see you. So I think that's one of the most impactful moments for me. This was my second time Challenge Day. And then I also think it's worth noting Leslie Bolzer absolutely does go above and beyond to make this happen, not only for our community and county, but also other surrounding counties, but also Tamara Brankman with United Way, and then the funder, which is Reed Health, and Angela Klein. So thank you to Reed, because if we did not have their generous donation and continued commitment to make this happen year after year,
And it is a
would not be able to
it is
pull it
a
off.
big commitment.
It's a very large.
A large, before any travel expenses, which are all part of it, it's for 3 days, it's 12 grand or something. It's a big chunk of money, and they've provided for, I think, every Wayne County school this year.
Yes.
I think the other thing that excites me is just seeing the Challenge Day t-shirts around the community. Like the next day I saw a kid wearing that. I thought they were at a volleyball game at the high school. So it's just that reminder to be that change that we want to see.
Oh, I keep hearing wonderful things. I was unable to, my schedule didn't permit for me to be there, but I sent my mom and she reported back. Were you with her? I was like, Mom, could you maybe do this? I'd love to be there, but I can't. And she was exhausted.
Yeah.
She was like, it was so
It's
emotionally. Yeah, she was just like wiped out. So, yeah, yep.
It's a good thing, but it's.
All right. Anything else?
I wanted to mention a thank you to President Weber because of all the photography that you put online of students. You are everywhere. You're at a ton of different events and you capture just some great photos of our students. And I see parents, I've talked to parents who are like, oh, the photos were better than, you know what I mean, the professional ones, so
It's
you are
very much
everywhere.
appreciated.
He's
Yeah,
done that,
so
he's
I
done
think-
that for a long time.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time, I know,
Yeah.
and the pictures that you capture, just the action, and I think that our parents of students appreciate all the events that you attend and put those out there for them, so.
It's fun to highlight the positives.
Yes, well, thank you for that.
Definitely.
Thank you. Moving on to upcoming, or preview of upcoming meeting and events, Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, our next board meeting is Wednesday, September 28th, right here in the boardroom. And on that day, we'll talk about the more amazing things going on within RCS, but also highlight the homecoming celebration, because by then, we all will have been on floats, riding down the road and celebrating alongside students and also students. They have an area there decked out for you to sing and perform with the band.
Thank you very much. I'm doing YMCA.
That's all I have
Which one are you interested
for
in?
the update.
That's what I don't.
Bell ringer.
With regard to our bell ringer, I believe Mrs. Hazelbaker had one established, and I apologize, Mrs. Hazelbaker, if you don't mind me just sharing and interjecting. The selection of the song by our choir, just that you will never bend alone. I think it just really symbolic of what indeed we've encountered and endured thus far. But while we've been, we are not broken, and indeed collectively, as was mentioned, we all come together to do some great things, but we do indeed still have a lot of work to do. And so, as I said, I'm excited and optimistic that we'll continue to press forward.
All right. Being adjourned.